What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a special edition of Three Stones presentation here. We're doing a little race preview this time around. We're going to be previewing the Icebreaker 100 and the festivities of that weekend from Dells Raceway Park. If you tuned in to our episode this week, both of us will be at the track this weekend.
Yep.
So we figured the first race up here in the Midwest, might as well do a preview of it. So um,
It's a big one.
it is.
Currently, as we are talking here, we've got 99 cars on the entry list. So, um, vastly approaching triple digits, and I mean by one car.
Yep.
The record, we've tied the record for entries. So that's pretty cool to have 99 cars across three divisions.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's just having that huge of a turnout this early in the season is huge, and just Kenny Wallace had to think a while back where is Midwest racing dead? Not really. So,
Hell no.
um, you want to dive into the trucks here first? Touch on them a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah,
So, quick look back to last year. Your top five. We'll just run. I guess we'll run through the top 10 real quick.
yep.
Chester Race ended up winning that race after starting P2, so pretty much got out front. Or sorry, it's P3. Got up front, stayed up front. Jacob Nottestad was second. Brad J.J. Mueller was third. Kevin Kniese fourth. Bryce Miller fifth. Brandon Reichenberger sixth. Aaron Moyer seventh. Nick Van was eighth. Daniel Bain ninth, and Grant Griesbach was 10th. Um, so looking at this year, 33 trucks currently on the entry list for this one. And again, you got a lot of the same crowd as you typically would for this race. Obviously, Chester Race is back, ready to race. Your defending champion, Brandon Reichenberger, is back, ready to race as well. And just a slew of drivers. So I guess, Colin, what are you looking at as we go into this one?
Looking across the handful of events they ran at the Dells last year, we have to remember last year they had that vivid outside line when they sprayed.
Yep.
So you have to remember that this is a whole new deal, and we had some guys last year that made a lot of headway on the top, which is very surprising to see. Um, I think we can expect the same group of guys to be running up front. When you look at some of your series drivers with Chester Ace and Brad JJ Mueller, who runs well, Brandon Reichenberger, your defending champ, Aaron Moyer finished well, Danielle Bain, and then you throw in a guy like James Swan, who can win on any given day. Grant Griesbach had a good day. So,
Yep.
there's also some newcomers to the series. When you talk about the likes of Colin Reffner, he'll be
Yep.
one. He'll be one to keep an eye on. So you have your tried and true guys that have been very competitive at the Dells and have shown they can win. But it'll be also curious to see what the new guys to the series can do. In maybe one of these new guys can show up and win the whole deal on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing, and you brought it up earlier, like how competitive this series could be, and that the outsiders tried and true. Again, looking at the fall race there for the Jim Sauter Classic, I mean, it was a side by side deal the entire time. You could expect pretty much a lot of the same thing, but one thing that we talked about, and we mentioned it during our interview with Drew, the series director, these guys will race so clean with each other, and but they'll race so hard. It can be at times the best show of the evening as well.
Yeah, and he even mentioned when we talked about it, qualifying within the series, the whole field was within 4.5 tenths.
Yep.
So a little mistake can cost you a lot in a tight competitive field. When you're talking about 33 trucks trying to make the feature here on Saturday.
Yeah, and looking at that, we had 20 trucks in the future last year, 33 entries on the entry list this year. You're gonna have some guys go home.
Some potentially very fast trucks going home too.
Yep, yep. So definitely looking forward to that one. Want to jump into the super lights here real quick?
Yep.
Yeah, so 38 entries for super lights. And again, it's a who's who as far as drivers that are there. Looking back at last year, Ty Fredrickson broke onto the scene in only his third super late start, I believe, maybe fourth.
It
Uh,
wasn't a handful.
it was a handful for sure. Started up front, started fifth in that race, ended up winning it, beat the likes of Ryan Farrell, Casey Johnson, Dalton Zier, Luke Fenhaus, who was your top five, Tristan Swanson, Riley Stengen, Bobby Kendall, Race Hayes, and Cody King were your top 10 there. A couple notables, Ryan Farrell went from 24 to 2. If I remember right, he didn't. He raced his way in or qualified his way in. But then
Um,
Casey Johnson was consistent up front. Dalton Zier, who is not on the entry list for this year, stormed from 23rd, and then Fenhouse from 17th. So you had a lot of guys that were fast, didn't qualify too well, raced their way through. And I believe, and I mean, it was chilly there last year, if I remember too.
yes, it was. So that would have been the event that Farrell went to qualify, and he turned it around in four, I believe.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
believe. Yep. So yeah, when you look at it, at tight quarters like this to go plus 22, that's a hell of a feat in itself.
Yeah.
Keep defenders on it and go plus 22 like that. But you've got 38 supers on the list here for this coming weekend, but a lot of the guys that finished at the top, as you mentioned, Fredrickson, Farrell, Johnson, Fenhouse, Swanson, are all on the list. But then you look a little bit deeper into last year's results. Jeff Storm 11th, John DeAngelis 12th, Max Kaler 13th. He won the Midwest Tour race in the fall. So maybe that group hit on a little bit of something too. So as you look a little bit deeper, you have some guys that are going to be fast that could potentially be starting deep in the field.
Yeah. And last year they took 20 in qualifying. So,
Yep.
and then they took four from last chance with two provisionals,
Yep.
if I've got my numbers here right.
I believe that is the correct statement.
So, um, again, and with having 38 cars on that entry list, if they're only locking in the top 20, you're already looking at half of the field running that B main, that last chance race.
Yes.
So, and again, you're going to see a lot of a lot of good cars go home from there.
Yeah.
Um, we made our race picks earlier in the week. Quick summarization of those. Our gas man Cam, he took Gabe Summers and Johnny DeAngelis. You took Ryan Farrell and Casey Johnson, and I took Luke
Yep.
Fenhaus and Ty Fredrickson. So all guys that we've already mentioned and have run good here previously.
Yep.
Um, just looking to have start the season off strong as well. If we're gonna look real quick at the Alive 5 races there last year, Ty Fredrickson again won the first race. Gabe Sommers won the next two, and then Luke Fenhaus won the last two from there. Um,
Yep.
if you want to throw another oddball one in there, Max Kaler won the Jim Starter Classic as well.
Yep. Yeah, he won the big 15 grand win feature in August. So like I said, that might be a program that's hit on something there, and he very well could be somebody that could show up and be somebody that's competitive right out of the gate. So don't be surprised if he's up front.
Yep. Let's touch real quick, lastly, on the last division that'll be there this weekend, the NASCAR Regional 602 Outlaw Late Model. So obviously the NASCAR Regional is new for Dells Raceway Park this year. They've got 28 cars on their entry list. Quick look at the top five for them last year. John Lemke won the race. Pete Moore was second, Tanner Berge third, Billy Brown fourth, and Dennis Prunty fifth. If I'm looking at early favorites for this year's race, I mean Dennis Prunty's head over heels. First one I'm looking at. John DeAngelis is actually going to be racing as well as I look through the entry
Yep.
list here.
Yep.
Tom Carlson's always strong. John Lemke again, last year's winner. John Reynolds Jr. always seems to do pretty good for himself. So again, pretty good listing of guys throughout there. 28 for those guys. Um, Again, a good cap to what will be a great weekend.
Yeah. And 602 has put on a great race as well. So let's not forget about them. They have tight competitive fields as well. So they'll have a fair amount of fast cars going home too, unfortunately. So
Yep.
if you haven't been to Dell's and you're in the area, you got to get there for a race. Great facilities, food is awesome.
Yep.
Um, yeah, just a well-run program, even from a race race management side of things as well.
And can't forget the lovely view that you've got behind you there.
I'm there already.
Yeah, you're there already. So, and you're actually sitting pretty close to where we will be sitting
Yep.
for the Dells. We'll be sitting in the third one bleachers up towards the very top. We're basically up the last staircase is pretty much where we're at. So,
Yeah. So if you're listening, you're going to be there. Come up and say hi.
yeah, absolutely. So, qualifying or sorry, fan gates open at 11. I believe practice is at 11 as well. I'm going to verify that here real quick.
Yeah. I think qualifying is 12:30 and I believe racing is 2 o'clock.
Sure. 2 o'clock practice for sure, or sorry, racing for sure.
Yep.
Qualifying will be same day as well. So,
Yep.
so
Absolutely.
any final thoughts here?
I'm excited.
It's gonna be great.
Is it Saturday at 11 yet or no?
You right? 12:30 is qualifying.
Yep.
Can't confirm that. So,
Cool. Hell yeah. I'm
so
excited.
looking forward to it. If you're gonna be in the area, come say hi. We might be rolling around the pits as well, but otherwise, we'll be looking to do a lot more of these previews throughout the year for some big races. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And stay tuned to our socials as well for any updates on the race as well.
Absolutely.
So until then, we'll see you at the racetrack or we'll see you on next week's episode of Tuesday.